Aaron Fleming-Saheed, thank you for joining us. Thanks for coming in, mate.
Thanks a lot for inviting me.
Really appreciate you making the trip. Before we get into the key topic around carbon neutral, carbon emissions within construction built environment, Cycling Sparks, it's your company. What is it, what you're trying to achieve?
Well, in a simplest sort of term, like basically we're domestic and commercial electricians that have been using bikes to get their tools and materials to their jobs since 2017.
Okay.
So that's it in its very sort of rawest form. We're starting to use eCargo bikes now. We've been using eCargo for like maybe 3-4 years, which is just, it takes a lot of the strain out of the work. Before it was just me with a backpack full of tools and on a regular bike. So it sort of takes that strain out of it.
eCargo bike, you'll have to fill me in a bit here, because I know you're in London, I'm living out in the back end of nowhere in Scotland, so we don't know what those are yet.
Right, so eCargo bikes are basically bigger bikes which have a battery assist motor.
Right.
So there's quite a wide range of eCargo bikes. You get like family bikes, you can stick your kids in the back and stuff like that. And then the bikes that we use, they have a sort of a large bucket at the front. You can stick your tools and material in there. You can carry, I think the max load is 250. Right. And I think with the rider, so you're looking probably at about 70, 80 kilos. The bike weighs a fair bit and all the rest, but you can take quite a lot. And I have put it through its paces, and they do take quite a lot of weight, and they perform really well. Brilliant. Yeah. Okay.
So you said since 2017, and when we were talking before, did you say 7 years you were doing this on your own?
No, so I started in 2017 on my own,
right? And
then we took on a member of staff last year, who's been with us for a year, and we've just taken a new guy on as well. So so it's been me for a long time on my own, but now since I bought the small fleet of bikes, I'm just filling up the spots now.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah. What kind of person do you have to be to not sit in a van?
Right, well, yeah, you do have to be a particular kind of person to do it, but there isn't a huge barrier to it, but you do have to, the weather's always a big question with us, but, I guess it depends on where you live. If you live in a really built up city and you've been in a van for ages and you're stuck in traffic for an hour and a half to 2 hours, a bike is a lot more attractive. There's some guys who would just be like, look, I'm not going to get out of the van. It's cold, it's wet, I'm not going to do it. But the frustration of spending that much of your time in traffic, it got to me. It used to drive me mental. Yeah. But I remember once it was still on a normal bike. I'd had a pig of a day doing this fault finding, didn't find it, was really frustrated. And I went home in the rain, and it was raining. It was on a normal bike, so it wasn't an e-bike. And I was home in 15, 20 minutes. And it was just traffic the entire way. And it's still not being stuck in traffic is still so much better than, not being stuck in traffic is still so much better than, using a bike is much easier.
15 minutes of rain and wind is better than an hour and a half of misery and anger.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, I get that. Yeah. And two questions. How did it even come about? Right. And what's your overall goal or goals with it?
So how it came about, it's not, I always say this, I didn't have a big love affair with bikes. I wasn't huge into cycling at all. I was just late every day to get to a particular site. It was difficult to get to with public transport. And a mate said, have you tried cycling? And I thought, no way, because I'll die. And it was in London, it was 2016, the infrastructure wasn't what it is now. And I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. And I did one day of it, and that was it. And I was just like, why is nobody else doing this?
Right.
Because it was just so much easier. I wasn't having to mess about with delays or interaction, or being on a packed train with people, everybody trying to navigate through the stations and all the rest of it. It was just like, okay, that's it, you go. So I kept cycling to site, changed jobs, thought of the name when I was doing one of these rides because you just have time to think. Yeah. And then when I wanted to leave that sector of the industry, I thought, okay, well, I've already sort of gotten used to carrying my tools on my back, and I thought, let's see what I can. This is obviously a much more efficient way of getting around the city, so let's see what I can do with it. Do it that way, and we've got a couple of goals. One goal is to change and to innovate how things can be done within trades and cities. Okay, and to keep pushing that. Right. I get a big kick out of doing that. It's kind of like a big sort of let's see what we can do with this. Let's see what we can do with that. Yeah. Speaking on your product, Roller Tray is something, that would be hugely beneficial to us. You know, as more products come out, we'll see what we can use to get on the bikes and to carry to site.
Yeah.
But also, as cities get bigger and bigger and more congested, getting about is getting more difficult for businesses. So, on a business goal, it's to negate those issues as efficiently as possible.
Right. Okay. And then at the customer end, or the service offering end, what have you seen? What have been the big advantages or drawbacks? Would you say
for the customer side?
Yeah. So you know, most people when they call an electrician, they're expecting at some point. Normally late is obviously the joke in it, and you get a van will turn up, then you'll turn up on your bike.
Yeah.
Before we're talking, you said on time.
Yeah, exactly.
So is that the biggest difference, that you're getting places on time?
Well, yeah, your delays are just cut right out.
Yeah.
I mean, you might have a delay of something, but it's nothing compared to like normal city traffic. So the customer gets, you know, their person on time. If we need to go and get something, it's not, you know, right, we'll be back in 2 hours. You know, we'll use a local. It might be a little while, but it's not that kind of like, you know, we're going to go and disappear and come back.
Yeah.
So the jobs are just generally more efficient.
Yeah. Okay.
So for the customer, they just get quite an efficient service.
Okay.
But also they love what we're doing. I mean, a lot of the bookings that we get are because they've heard of us and they love the idea.
Okay. So do you think that the customer end then people are more aware of the climate crisis? I don't really know the correct terminology anymore, but
I mean, like, look, I'm in London.
Decisions?
Yeah, look, I'm in London, and it's like it is quite a, you know, it should be a concern for everybody.
Yeah,
but I think, you know, simply put, it's like there wasn't an option for them to have that before. Now there's an option.
Right.
So now we're that option where they've got like, okay, well, I didn't have an electrician who's low carbon, but now I do, so I will choose that.
Okay.
Because I think generally people want to make the right decisions. It's just that the offer has to be there for them.
Yeah, of course. Oh, brilliant. Okay.